You're invited. We're excited and delighted to say. Since you've begun to learn to value yourself, I think you're realizing that some of the relationships in your life have been unbalanced. Yeah. And I think you're just coming to terms with that. Another positive thing that I've seen from you is since you've done that, you have seemed to be more aware of other people's stuff in a way that I feel is new. I feel like you have more room and more awareness. You have more self-awareness and you have more awareness of the relationships in your life and the people around you, of how they might feel about something. Your empathy has grown.
Thank you for saying that.
You're welcome. It has.
I hope so, because I used to not have it.
Well, I mean, but like it all makes sense, because I used to be the same way. I was hiding so much of my true self. I was pretty much just a shell of a human, trying so hard to please this person who took, but didn't give anything. And my entire identity was wrapped up in that, and therefore wrapped up in myself. I wasn't valuing myself. I wasn't being honest about my stuff. My empathy threshold was very small. It's like I hadn't learned how to do that yet. And so once I started to become more of like a real human being, I started to see the cracks in everyone. Cracks meaning how everyone is going through something. Mm-hmm. Everyone has their own story. I had a very self-centered way of thinking about the world. And since being more open and honest and vulnerable, I've had more room to give love to the people around me and to have empathy. And that's definitely a learned thing. Yeah. And I think you learn that after you come out of hiding. And I think, yeah, you've become more empathic since.
Yeah, thank you.
That's what I've noticed.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I think you're starting to realize the people in your life who aren't able to give you the kind of empathy that you're realizing you deserve. I've lost a lot of people after that. But in the end, like, you go through this kind of messy middle, and then you come out of it. And I'm kind of, I feel, finally starting to get to the other side. For a while, I didn't really have any friends. It was just me and Tori. It's because I was losing a lot, because I was gaining a lot in myself, but I was risking a lot of relationships. And unfortunately, a lot of those relationships were lost. Mm-hmm. So I just was, for a while, being like, wow, it's really, it really
sucks over here.
Sucks. It sucks to value yourself so much and to have boundaries. And by the way, boundaries are just you deciding what is good and what is bad for you.
Yes.
People can't handle it. But then you realize that the only people who can't handle boundaries are people who don't want to fully respect you as an autonomous person. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden now I look around me and I'm like, I have all these friends again.
It just takes a second. In the Christian terms, it's the pruning process.
The pruning process, yes.
Prune your life away.
No, but then you realize, then you start to make good friendships where from the beginning, you know that they're going to respect boundaries, you know that they're going to be empathic, and just your standard, I guess, for letting people close to you is just different. It's just a different type of standard. Mm-hmm. I just realized that the people around me are people that they're keepers, and if I change, they are celebratory of that. When you let go of relationships that take and never give, it might be lonely for a while and it might be scary for a while, but the other side is there, and the other side awaits you with people who respect you and who love you and who just want the best for you no matter how you grow and change. Mm-hmm. And you need,
that's okay.
1 second. And you need people fighting for your mental health with you.
When we start to really process our pain and process our health and try and value ourselves, we start to realize what we need from people and what is okay with us and not okay with us. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've been hearing about boundaries since she started hearing about boundaries. I don't think I actually understood what they were until last week. I, for the first time, had a really good boundary conversation without realizing it was a boundary conversation. So a bad boundary conversation sounds like you telling someone what is not okay with you and what hurts you, and them doing it anyway and not respecting that, then being upset that it hurts you. A good boundary conversation, which feels really good, I had another friend did something that hurt me, and he straight up told me, and he apologized, and I was like, hey, that really hurt because this, don't do that anymore. And he said, you're right, I take full responsibility, I am so sorry, I will never do that to you again. So then I was talking to Alex and Tori about it, and they were like, that's a good boundary conversation. That's you letting him know what is not okay with you and him accepting that.
Now it's his turn to rebuild that trust that he lost with you. That stuff's gonna happen. Like, that's happened with me and Tori, where I've done something that hurt her. I apologize, take responsibility, and then it's like, okay, well, now over time, either the person's going to try and rebuild the trust and work on that relationship, or they're gonna keep doing the same things over and over again. It's okay, like that's okay, and that happens. But I think people who I just totally lost my train of thought. It's gone.
It just went away.
It's so gone.
You were on it.
I was on a thing.
Mental health is a thing for everybody. Whether you struggle with depression or anxiety, or you don't think you have mental health issues, you still have mental health that needs to be taken care of, which is why I feel like in today's society we're trying to talk so much about self-care, and why people love people like Glennon Doyle, who's amazing.
Amazing.
So good.
Yeah. Self-care is not just bubble baths and petting your dog.
It's boundaries. It's having people around you that actually care about you the way that you need to be cared about. And that's what I'm learning.
Yes, and your space is your space. And you deserve to have that space be filled with healthy people that help you be more healthy and happy and vibrant, because we have one life. And we deserve that. You deserve to create a space around you that is life-giving and loving and full of people who, of course, are not perfect and will make mistakes and might hurt you, but who work to regain your trust and who work to keep that friendship. You are lucky if you have one person, 1 to 2 people in your life who you can bring your shame to, and they hold it well with empathy and compassion and grace, and you deserve that.
I'm very, very lucky to have the people that I have, and Alex is the
And
best
I am
big sister.
too, and you're the best too.
Oh, thanks, I know. And then Tori's the
We
best
don't know how to
sister-in-law.
hug each other though. We're still figuring that out. Yeah. This is an example of a relationship that we've fought for each other.
We really did.
And we've hurt each other, and we've, been awful, but then we work to regain and rebuild.
And I'm standing with my sister, and all you guys out there who are not. Here's the deal. For all of you who are wondering whether or not I'm standing with my sister, and
She's actually sitting with her right
I'm
here.
sitting with my sister, and I'm not just loving her, hoping that she'll change.
Thank you.
That's not a thing. That's really a rude, arrogant perspective to have on any issue where you disagree with what people are doing.
Thank you.
That's very self-centered.
It is really not that hard to actually love someone who is different from you or who's different views from you. All you have to do is talk to them and ask them on their perspective and truly listen and actually go to a conversation with them, considering that you might have something to learn.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. Just
learn
take
from
some humility.
differences.
Once you become once you
Sorry.
once you have a real relationship with someone who has different views or is different than you, you will learn so much, and your world will become bigger and brighter, and it might surprise you. Let yourself be surprised.
Let yourself learn from people who are different. Don't walk in assuming you're here and they're here, because that's not true.
Yes. I was like you once. If you have any questions about all of it, I made a video called Faith and Sexuality. No hate, just cake. Bye! Come on, we got a lot to do. You're invited. We're excited. We're about to bring on phones. Okay.
If you want to buy my book, Be Free, there's a link to that in the description box below. Or if you want to sign up and support me on Patreon, where you can get more involved in what I'm doing, support me as an independent writer, speaker, vlogger, yada, yada, yada. The link down below for that as well. Basically, just look below for all the links. I love you guys. Have a good one, and bye.
Not bye.